So I have big news. Oh my gosh, I'm like slightly worried that I'm gonna cry on this live stream. So here's hoping I don't, but if I do, we're just gonna roll with it. So basically, long story short, I have decided to make a very emotional decision for me, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that entails because I've already gotten a lot of messages about this. But long story short, what I have decided to do for the rest of the year is to shut down my one-on-one, right? And as someone who has built her entire business on that, that is a hugely emotional thing for me. So I just want to clarify what that looks like. If you're a current client, that does not impact you at all. That does not impact your ability to re-sign. Half of the reason I'm doing this is for exactly that. So if you already have a sales call booked with me, what that means is there may or may not be a spot available. If there's not, I am totally honoring that call and I will coach the fucking shit out of you on that sales call. We'll just have a ton of fun and I'll give you as much value as I possibly can in that time. We're going to probably have one spot for December that will only go to people that already have sales calls booked. And then we're going to book a couple spots into next year. So if you already have a sales call with me, at best, you're going to be able to grab one of those spots. At worst, you're going to have an amazing coaching call. That's kind of what's happening. So if you already have a deposit down with me for a spot, in the next few months, all the way through September, nothing changes with that. So just want to be like super clear there. Nothing is changing on that front. Hey, Claire. Hey, Belinda. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. So I hope that's helpful and I hope that feels good and just kind of like alleviates any of the questions there. I don't want any of my current clients to be worried. I don't want you to feel like if you have a sales call with me, you need to cancel it. Any of that. If you do have a call with me, there is probably going to be an opportunity to oh my gosh, I can't think straight, to take a December or January, February spot. I know that seems far away, but it's kind of the best we can do right now. Tristan says, is the reason because my client sent me 6,000 word messages? It's not, I promise. So here's basically the gist of it is that what has been happening in my business, which is like an amazing thing and is something I'm so grateful for and, just couldn't be more thankful for, is that we are typically booked pretty far out and we've been booking out based on about a 75% retention rate. I retain and keep most of my clients. And so we've been operating under that philosophy for a while. Well, that's great until what happens is that you end up with about 100% retention rate. So right now we're retaining pretty much 100% of our clients. And so, effectively spots that we're booking out aren't people aren't leaving those spots. And so we're kind of getting into a position where it is, not feasible to predict or project as far down the road as we need to be able to. That's why we're maybe going to take one December spot for sales calls already booked and why we're maybe going to book a couple for next year. But basically what's the most important thing to me in the whole world in my business is that I serve the clients that I'm committed to really, really well and really beautifully, and that they always have the opportunity to re-sign with me if they so choose and if they want to. I can never, ever, ever imagine being in a position where I'm telling a current client that there's no possibility in that position. I want them to feel like they can stay with me for as long as they want. I have clients that have been with me for years. I have so many clients that have gone 0 to 6 figures with me, 0 to 7 figures, and so on. And like, I just so deeply desire to keep those clients and to keep space open for them. So that's why I'm making this decision. Oh, thanks, Monica. It's so funny. This is a total aside, but before I get into the crying part, so many people have said that to me in the last 3 days, and I got a new concealer, and I swear it's that. I really think it's my new concealer. So thank you. I will take it. And I will also tell you what concealer it is. So basically, I was kind of sitting on this because we had been having the 100% retention rate. And I was kind of feeling like, Well, we're getting into a bit of a position here. And it was kind of okay because we're in lockdown. I'm not really traveling. Kenny's home. So he's been helping a ton, all of that. But then, like, as things are starting to open up, it like really became clear to me. Um, like, this is not sustainable if we just keep adding people without someone rolling off. And so I realized, like, if I want to be the type of coach that I want to be and I want to show up for my clients in the way I want to show up, like, I really don't have another choice. And it's not to say that I don't have another choice. I always have a choice. But if I want to show up in the way I want and build the business I want, this was the obvious choice. You know what I'm saying? But it was a really hard choice for me. And I just want to be super vocal about that because I think that a lot of times we think when we're making any choices in business that if they feel hard, it means there's something wrong or whatever. This was such a hard one. Like, I sobbed like for at least a full day, if not more. Like, I remember I called my best friend Sarah and she answered and I was just like sobbing and she was like, holy fuck, like what is going on? I remember I came out of my office and I saw Kenny and just like started crying and he was like, oh my God, like, you know, like everyone's like, who died? What happened? Oh my gosh. And it sounds so dramatic and so ridiculous, but it was so hard for me to make this choice because I love taking on new clients. I fucking love sales calls. Like, I had a good cry about the fact that like I'm not going to get to do as many sales calls this year. And I think that it just sounds so ridiculous, but I just want to put voice to the fact that like it's okay if things in your business feel emotional for you, but it doesn't mean they're wrong. Like, I think it would have been really easy for me to be like, well, if I'm this emotional about it, it's probably not the right thing. I just needed to have a day where I just cried it out. And what Sarah said when I called to her is like, gosh, how lucky are you that you're in a position where you're sitting here crying your eyes out because you can't take on more one-on-one clients and can't take on more sales calls this year. Like, you know, if most people in their jobs, like if someone was like, oh, you can't take on more work, like they certainly wouldn't be crying. So I feel a deep sense of gratitude that that's how much I love this work. But it also makes me have to make hard decisions sometimes, right? Because what I'm really committed to is scaling my business in a way that feels amazing to me. And this is that. And it means that I have to make some tough choices and I have to say no to other things. I was talking to one of my clients recently and I was telling her that, you know, when I see businesses fail, like the number one reason I see them fail is because people failed to say no to money. Right. And that's a whole other live stream. But what I mean by that is like, they got so caught up in the machine that they kind of failed to check in with themselves. And they just started saying yes every time they could to money. And I think that can kill a business, quite honestly. And I think that it burns you out. I think it's unsustainable. I think there are so many things with that. That's a whole other conversation. But my point is like, I know that to build the business I want to build and quite frankly, to be in fucking integrity with what I'm telling my clients, like I need to make this choice. And that was another piece that really came out of it is like, I always want to be about what I say I'm about. So I can't be in a position where I'm telling my clients like, build the business that's the right fit for you, build the business that lights you up, all that kind of stuff. And then on the back end, be burning myself out, saying yes when I should be saying no, all of that. Like that would be so fucking out of integrity for me. So as soon as I realized that was happening, I had to be like, it's time for a tough decision. And again, it was super tough. It's so funny because I had a conversation with Megan about it. And so we had kind of decided on it. And then I was supposed to record a voice memo to go to the rest of the team. So they kind of understood what we were doing, all that kind of stuff that day. And every time I went to record it, I just started sobbing. And I had to text Megan and be like, hey, I'm unable to record this today because I need a day to just like sob it out and cry. And what I was really crying about is just like, yeah, like I don't get like, I have to limit this to a certain extent and that's okay. Right. Like, I think that sometimes in this industry, we feel like it's about growth for the sake of growth. And like something I really did like a very strong check-in with on myself was like, if I kept saying yes, or quite honestly, if I changed my business model, if I was like, okay, fuck it, I have like way more people than I know what to do with, like screw one-on-one, we're going in this direction, I promise you, there would be one reason I was doing that. And the reason would be to like prove something in this industry. The reason would be to like prove I can hit a certain revenue number. The reason would be to prove I can scale in a certain way, but I don't fucking want to. What I want is to serve and love the shit out of my one-on-one clients, right? And it's just like so important to me. And it's what lights me up. Like I was saying to someone on the phone today, like, I think everyone just has those different things. Like I could literally get on like 8 client calls in a day. And I'm like, who's next? Who else wants coaching? What's up? But if I was on like one, like big group program call or something, I'd be like, fuck, I need a nap. Like I just know what the things are that light me up. I have more points on that, but I want to read your comments too. Jen says, no, but seriously, we need to know which concealer. It's called Born This Way, Jen. I think it's Too Faced. Sarah introduced me to it. So I'll make sure I ask. I don't have to ask her. I have a picture of it. Because I have it in my house. I'll send you a picture. Yeah, so Julia's right. So the foundation is YSL, and then the concealer is Born This Way. Apparently it has been life-changing. Claire said that happened to me in my old company. I fell out of love with it. We were too busy. So many lessons in that. Yes, right? Like, so you can like totally be in that position where you let the thing you love burn you out. And I just like don't want to do that. It's not Beauty Counter, Teresa, but I really do want to try that. I've been hearing really good things about that too. Yeah. Oh, Nikki says, so good. Just announced that I'm only doing one-on-one. Amazing. So cool. So yeah, I think that, what was I saying? Oh, I know. I was going to say like, so here's the thing. Like, I just really know what my zone of genius is, right? And so what I mean by that is like, I'm just like not a great teacher. Like I think I'm great at getting on live stream and talking to you guys. I think I'm good at like conveying high level concepts, that kind of thing. But in terms of like, do I think my greatest skill is as a teacher? I just truly don't. And I'm not saying that in a self-deprecating way. I'm sure if I like really, really wanted to, I could learn how to be a better teacher and all of those kind of things. It's just not my thing, where I think some other people like are way better teachers and are way more skilled and qualified that like, I'm just not the person that should build the like, here are the 5 steps to start your business course. That's almost like everything I don't believe in, quite honestly. And it's not my strong skill set. So what do you think we do in business is like, because we step into all these areas that are not our zone of genius or that are not where we thrive best. And quite honestly, there are much, much, much better people to go take a course like that from. There are much better people that are qualified at that. Like, I don't have to like fight against that. Like I can just know my strength. And the thing that's funny too is like what I've really thought about every year in my business in terms of scaling one-on-one is, can we add at least 6 figures of revenue every year? We're definitely going to do that this year. Like I don't feel like I'm giving up a goal by any means, but I'm also not going to grow to prove something. I'm not going to grow for the sake of growth. I'm not going to grow and put myself in an area that is just truly not my zone of genius or where I'll enjoy myself. Like I have some clients who like creating course content all day would like light them up. For me, that would like literally be the worst. Like, right? So like, it's just like being able to pay attention to that and being able to also check in with yourself on the like, what's growth just to prove something? Like, I think this industry really puts us in a position where it's like, the only way to prove yourself is through like doing all these things and like, making a certain amount of money. And like, what I'll tell you is like, the way I see it is like, I prove myself through my clients' results. Like, I think I get people better results than almost any other coach out there. And I have fucking no problem saying that. And guess what? Like that walks my talk for me. And if someone like doesn't want to hire me because I didn't hit 7 figures this year, like I really don't want them to hire me, right? I want them to hire me because they see me proving this in other ways, right? And I don't want to grow to prove myself as a great coach. I want to build the business that I want. And that I think is what proves it to me, if that makes sense. So I think I just want to say like, whatever that is for you, don't get in this industry and get so caught up in the idea that it has to look a certain way or you have to hit a certain revenue goal to be like viable or whatever. Like what you have to do is build the business that lights you up and is most true to you. Like I want you all to have a business that when you find out you have to do less in it, you cry for 2 full days. Like that's what I want all of you to have, right? Like that makes me emotional. Like that's what I want my clients to have, is that moment where it's like, because it's, you know, getting like taken away, or like we're intentionally choosing to stop this. Like I want like you guys to want to cry over that too, because it's that good, you know, not because you're like, oh crap, this means like I don't get to hit this revenue goal, or I don't get to like prove myself in this way, or I don't get to like go out and like put this number on the internet. Like it just like so doesn't make any sense. And it like makes me so emotional that I'm like so happy to have a business where I feel like that, right? So what else was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say, oh wait, I want to see what you guys are saying. Thanks, Brandy's. Thank you, Monica. I love you guys so much. Oh, Jen, I saw that you commented something and now I can't see it. They go away. Oh, I love you guys though. Thank you for listening to me cry. I was like, I'm so proud of myself. I didn't even cry, and now here we are. But whatever, it's fine. But like I think the opposite is true too for some of my clients. So like I have a client right now who I'm like pushing pretty hard to let go of one-on-one. Like she's fucking exceptional at group programs. She is so good at getting to scale in that way. She's so great at that. And so I'm like telling her the opposite, right? Like I just want to be really clear on that. It's like about finding the thing that brings those tears to you, that like feels that good. And so I'm not at all making a case for one-on-one here. That just happens to be the thing that has my heart and like my expertise, right? But like, again, like for a lot of my clients, like I'm pushing them in the entirely other direction because it just serves them better and it's what lights them up more, and it's what makes them happier, all of that, right? And so I really think that that's just like the most important message I can share here is like build the business you really love, because no amount of revenue makes up for that. No amount of being able to share results on the internet makes up for not having that. I also want to say, you know, the funny thing is like after I got through all the tears and was able to kind of like really lean into this and like, you know, I just needed to grieve a little, you know, I kind of had to like grieve that old place in my business and like the ability to like just get on a sales call and all of that kind of stuff. But what I realized is it's about to get real fucking fun up in here, because I just get to like do literally whatever the fuck I want for the rest of the year. And I'm not saying I've never been able to do whatever the fuck I want, but what I'm saying is like that like it almost creates this like different level of freedom. Like I was talking to somebody today and they were talking to me about doing a collaboration, and they were like, well, what do you need to push to? What do you want to fill? That kind of thing. And I was like, oh, literally, it doesn't fucking matter. Like I can do whatever I want for the rest of the year kind of thing. And so that's what's so cool for me about being in the one-on-one capacity and like being at the 100% retention rate is I just feel like I'm like, it's about to get real fun in here. Like I feel like I have nothing to hold back. We can have any conversation we want. Like, and again, that's kind of always been true, but like I just feel this like new level of excitement coming in around the things I'm going to be able to share here, right? Julia says, you'll be so happy to know the team fully knows that there is no more one-on-one in 2020. So I do listen sometimes. Praise the Lord. I'm very happy to know that. But see, perfect example, like no more one-on-one in 2020 because she's better at something else, right? Sorry, Crystal. But you're in. Crystal's like, you better not be fucking talking about her. So yeah, like, but this is what I want. Like, I want my clients to be able to do it in their own way and to show up in the way that serves them best. And same, but I feel like I'm just like so excited for what's going to happen in this space, because I feel like, you guys know I always say I've probably had like 4 good ideas in my entire business, like literally the partnership, value-centered sales, like, and you know, the percentage or whatever. Like I've had like maybe 4 good ideas in my whole business. And I'm not saying that in a self-deprecating way. I'm saying that in a I'm really intentional kind of way. But I feel like what this is doing is kind of giving me that space for the next idea. So who knows what that is? Like, I may come out tomorrow and tell you guys I'm doing something else. I highly doubt it will be tomorrow, but like, I feel like what I'm really trying to be intentional about is freeing up that space. I always tell my clients, if you want to be a thought leader, you have to have time to think. So I'm just like making sure I have that and making sure I'm being in integrity with like being about what I say I'm about, and like being able to kind of like go to this next level here with you guys. And like, how beautiful is it to like feel so solid in the back end of the business and have such amazing clients there and such like, you know, clear growth going on for the rest of the year, that I'm like, what can I do to pour into my Facebook group? Like, what can I do to just like give more value for free? What can I do to fully show up for that? How can I let more ideas come through? Like, that feels so beautiful and so exciting. So I just want to tell you guys, like, even if you don't have the chance to work with me one-on-one this year, stick around, because we will be doing a lot more in terms of amazing free content in this group. And also we have one more round of value-centered sales this year, I think. So there will be an opportunity there too. But yeah, like, just really excited to have that like creative space kind of freed up. Let me think of what else I wanted to tell you guys. What else? I think that's sort of it in terms of the thought process. I love this conversation going on here. Great. So Julia's like, never. And that's how I feel too. Like, I just absolutely refuse to put myself in the position where I can't re-sign the clients that I really, really love. You know what I mean? Hey, Sam, I'm going to have to come back and watch this to see what I missed. I was hoping to work with you one-on-one this year. Sam, I think that you already have a call booked. So definitely watch the first part of this to hear about that. Hey, Ariel. So yeah, I think like my big takeaways for you guys are, if it's hard, it doesn't mean it's bad, right? Like, sometimes the best decisions in business are also the hardest ones. My other takeaway is like, create a business where you are that emotional and feel that, you know, like excited about taking on more people and doing more work, and having to say no to that feels hard. You know what I mean? That's like the whole thing that we're doing here. And really build the business that fits you. Like, I think I've talked about this before, but I seriously feel like the luckiest business owner every day. I feel like I have built a business that completely aligns to who I am and how I like to show up. I feel like our revenue is amazing, but our profits are better, which, by the way, is something to really think about in a whole other conversation too. But like, the thing about this business model that serves us so much is that our margins are so small in terms of what it costs to run this business model. And so while the revenue might not be at seven figures, our profit is very much aligned with most people that are making that, because we're able to take a lot of that home because of the model we've chosen. And so that's also really helpful to remember too, is that a lot of the question I'm, asking my clients and wanting them to think about is, profit is more important than revenue. Like, I feel like, back to that point of like, sometimes we're just doing stuff to prove it. Like, revenue can be a prove it number. Profit is a feel good number, right? Like, I just want to kind of like get past this whole idea in this space that like, you have to have a certain revenue to be valued or valuable in a certain way. Like, a Lit Up Life will probably make 600K this year, give or take, right? But I feel like it would be so easy, and this is something interesting, right? It would be like, I could get to 1 million this year with my eyes closed, quite honestly. I've done it with so many clients in their businesses behind the scenes. Like, I know the mechanism for that. I just also know that that wouldn't feel good to me, right? And that is so much more important. And I feel like what can happen in this space is that we feel like, well, because I can, I should, or because that's available to me, I have to prove that. And I will tell you that every single one of my clients that had really fast growth completely and totally let go of the idea of having to prove anything. Julia motherfucking Wells, tell the people this. I know you're on here and I know you feel the exact same way. Like, Julia had super, super fast growth. And you can tie so much of it back to when she just stopped deciding it meant fucking anything, right? Oh, yes, revenue being a show it, prove it, and profit feel good. Quote that shit up. Yeah. Like, hands down, like when you're doing anything for the show it or prove it kind of thing, it's going to feel bad. And so that's why I kind of just wanted to share this, is this idea that like, you don't owe anybody that. Like, if you're just doing this to like hit a certain number in the online space, like you're probably gonna hate your business and you're gonna want to shut it down. I know a lot of people that has happened to, and I'm just like really trying to be a voice for the opposite of that, and quite honestly not fall into that trap myself, because I was feeling myself getting there a little bit, right? Where it was like, there's so much opportunity here this year, there's so much, like we have so many sales calls on the books, like all of this stuff. We have people scheduled out through, I think, October right now. Like we're 6 months out. I just can't predict that at this point. You know what I mean? So yeah, like it makes sense to cap it, but also like it's gonna feel really good to be able to do that for the rest of the year. Yeah, totally. Julia said 300K cash, and I finally gave that shit up. Exactly. So good. Bye, girl. Love you. So that's kind of my whole story. And kind of my whole point is like, you have nothing to prove. Don't make it about the revenue. Don't make it about proving it. Make it about showing up in the way that really serves you, really feels good for you, really feels aligned for you. And you're just not hearing that enough in the online space. And so I just want to like keep saying that more and more. I feel like everything we're hearing is almost the direct opposite and antithesis of this. And I've just been behind the scenes in enough businesses to know that that is the least sustainable way to build. I have know several people slash have had clients that had the really big business and ended up just like totally burning it down, because it didn't serve them. Claire said that on here earlier. She had like a huge, amazing, successful business, and it was just not sustainable, and it wasn't built in a way that she loved anymore, and she just totally fell out of love with it, right? And so being able to truly build that is really priceless. And my hope is that with kind of some of this freed up space, I'm acting like I'm not going to have clients. We still have a totally full client load. I'm just making sure my clients all have space to resign, but like freed up space feels true still for me. With some of this freed up space, like I just want to be in here more, sharing that message and giving you guys ways to do that and ways to think about that, because I really believe there's not a more important message that you could hear, quite honestly. And I think that you could go fight it out for 2 years trying to do the like show it, prove it, build what you're supposed to build kind of thing, but it won't get you to where you want to go. I think if you really take this to heart, I think it might really change things in your business. It for sure has for me, but I'll tell you that it's taken a really significant amount of self-trust, because this is just not traditional. Most people don't think it makes sense what I'm doing. Most people can't see why I would say no to money. Most people can't see why I'm not doing a course or a group or whatever. And listen, I reserve the right to fucking do that if I ever want to. There's just nothing about that feels good to me or makes sense right now. Maybe 2 weeks from now, I will. Cool, whatever. I can fucking change my mind anytime I want, but not because I feel pushed, not because I feel like I have something to prove, not because I feel like I have to prove myself as a coach or as a business owner, or any of those things. We just can't keep equating that to value anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I have plenty of clients who make way more than me and who do it without that proving mentality. I'm certainly not saying that you can't grow and scale really fast with that. I'm just saying that the intention behind it matters a ton, and doing the thing that lights you up the most matters a ton. You can make millions doing that, right? It's just about finding what works for you. Belinda says your whole story is fucking powerful. Thank you, Lacey. I'm so grateful Julia worked with you and you both have insane integrity and I get this impact. Oh, Belinda, thank you so much. That makes my day. Yes, Claire says YOLO, enjoying life is most important. 100%. And I think not only enjoying life, but like really actually enjoying the business, right? Like not just kind of enjoying the business, but like really feeling every day, like you're supposed to be doing this. I'm not saying there's not hard things. There are plenty of hard things. Obviously, the couple days where I cried all day were like not my fondest day in business, but this is so random. I feel like I've said this before. But this is like always what comes to mind. But I'm like was an avid Sex and the City watcher as anybody else. And I remember there was this episode where Miranda was asking all of them, like, how often do you feel happy in your relationship? And Charlotte answered, like, not all day, every day, but definitely every day. And that's how I feel in this business is like, I can't say that it's like lighting me up like a firecracker all day, every day, but definitely every day. Definitely every day, there's this feeling of like, I'm doing the work I am meant to do in the world. Definitely every day, there is this feeling of like, I just like showed the fuck up for that. And I feel so fulfilled by that. Definitely every day there is a measure of that. And I think that's really important. I did this live stream a little while ago in this group, and it was called Why I'm a Hard Coach to Work With. And I kind of talked all about that. Like, I really go deep. I will really coach you hard. I will really hold you to a certain standard, all of this stuff. And one of my clients that started with me more recently was like, I watched that live stream and I thought, oh yeah, sure. Like, whatever, that's cool. You can't be that hard. I'll be fine. And then was like, oh, just kidding. You actually are a really hard coach to work with. And I've probably had more transformation in the last week than I had in the last year, or that I would have in a year of therapy. And I loved that so much because that's where I find that fulfillment. Like, that transformation for me is everything. Like, I would so much rather have that every day where I can like fully show up for my clients in that way than just keep saying yes to more people, to where like I stop having the capacity and ability to fully show up for that. Like, I just know that that's where my zone of genius is. I know that's how I want to show up as a human. And I know that's what brings me that happiness part of every day, even when some of the other stuff, you know, feels bad or you have to make the hard decision, right? Crystal says, this is so validating. I feel the same as you for sure. Every day I love my business. Susie says, me too. So good, right? And I think that what's interesting is that we can make that like the least important thing. Sometimes, right? We can be like, sure, I love it, but like, I haven't hit this revenue number, or I haven't done this thing yet. And we can really kind of be hard on ourselves there. But that's kind of what I want this message to be about, which is like again, like, I feel so stupid saying this because it's so ridiculous, but it's like, I can accept the trade-off of making 600K this year instead of 7 figures because I love what I do. To be clear, there's like zero trade-off with making 600K. Like, that's why I feel like an asshole, because that's exceptional and way more than enough. It is amazing and everything like that. So I'm not trying to say that, but like, what I'm saying is that, you know, my growth is just inherently going to be slower because I've decided to focus on the business model that I have. And I have to be in that place where I'm like, but feeling good and loving my business every day, totally worth that, right? Totally worth it. Hands down, 100 times out of 100 every time. And I think that that's one thing we should be looking for with coaches in this industry is like, how much do you love your business? Not just how much are you making? How happy are you every day in your business? Not just like, you know, how did you scale or how fast did you scale or whatever. Like, I remember one of my clients interviewing me and kind of basically just straight up asked me that. She was like, listen, I'm looking for somebody that like really, really loves what they do and like isn't like trying to stop doing one-on-one tomorrow to scale to something else. And like, I just want to know like how much you love it. And I was like, that's the best fucking question I've ever been asked on a sales call, because that's like so good. Like, I feel like, you know, like just those conversations of like, what's the profit? What's the level of happiness? Things like that are just not happening enough in this space. And so I want to be about that and be here and having those more. So again, I just want to like recap really quickly. If you are a current one-on-one client, this does not affect you at all. I'm doing this primarily and intentionally to make sure that you can resign. I said that weird. If you have a sales call booked with me, we will probably be booking one spot for December and maybe a couple spots for 2021. Those will go to you if you already have a sales call booked. If those go before your sales call is booked with me, I will coach the shit out of you on our sales call. You will get a free coaching call. I'm not canceling any of them. I will show up 100% and you will get 100% of my time and attention for that amount of time. So, here for that 100%. And I think that answers. Oh, and if you have a deposit down with me to start, in the next few months or whatever, this does not affect you at all. Also, this does not mean I'm shutting down my 101 forever, you guys. I am going to keep a wait list, like not a deposit wait list, but just like a wait list of names if you're interested, if you want to hear when we open it up again. We will certainly be opening it up again. I will continue one-on-one coaching. I will see what ideas come to me during this time, but please stick around. The content here, I think, is going to be more exciting than ever. We will continue to move forward. I still plan on doing the partnership process, all of that kind of stuff. So this is not like a done with one-on-one forever. This is like a done for the remainder of the year so that things can continue to be amazing. And, I can have that space to create even more awesome free content for you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope this gives you a ton of permission to run the business you love and that lights you up. If you guys have any questions about this, super happy to talk about it. Like I always love to be as transparent as possible. And sometimes I just don't even think about what you guys would want to hear about this. So if you have any questions on this, if you ever wanted me to go deeper on any one part or how my business model works or why we're doing this, let me know. Happy to be a pretty open book around that. I'm just so grateful for you guys for being here and for listening to me, for dealing with my crying, for showing up and being such epic people in this community and supporters of me. And I'm just so grateful to all of you. You guys are what make me happy in my business every day. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you. And I hope you guys have a good week. I'll talk to you soon.